Have you ever heard of PDA? No, I'm not talking about public displays of affection. I'm talking about pathological demand avoidance, or increasingly known as pervasive demand for autonomy. If you're not familiar with it, essentially it's a mechanism in the brain, specifically autistic brains, and they're also discovering that many ADHDers have this mechanism as well. What it does is makes it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for that type of person to get something done that is expected of them. Even if you've put that expectation on yourself and you have PDA, you've unwittingly set a demand on yourself, and for some reason, a part of your brain resists that demand. I bring this up because several months ago, I was inspired to create 10 YouTube videos in a row, about once a week. Didn't do them once a week. I've published like 8 videos now, I think. And I truly was inspired to do this. Okay. Like I really felt a strong desire to publish 10 YouTube videos about mindfulness, awareness, consciousness, and how all that has really helped me center myself and has helped me just thrive better in life. Thrive better, whatever. You know what I mean, right? It's helped me. Okay, so I wanted to share those insights with people. But it's difficult for me to make YouTube videos. Not as in it's technically difficult or it's hard. I've recently learned that I have ADHD and I'm probably autistic too. I definitely have PDA. Never been told officially that I do, but looking back at my life, my God, don't tell me what to do has been a common theme in my life. Even I tell myself, and I mean, not really tell myself, but if I give myself something to do, I won't fucking do it a lot of times. I never knew why. Maybe this is why. Probably this is why. So unwittingly, I set myself up for failure constantly by setting a goal even, or deciding that I want to do something, like make 10 YouTube videos. So I haven't made a video in like 3 weeks, and a lot of things have changed recently for me. I've learned basically very recently that I am neurodivergent in whatever form that may come in. So it's all coming together. It all is starting to make a lot more sense. So I'm going to do something a bit different today. I'm not going to sit here and talk to the camera and polish the edits and fix every and stutter and blah, 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 and put cool or cheesy graphics or videos on the video, whatever. I love playing with AI. I think AI is an essential and amazing tool, especially for neurodivergent brains. It is like having an executive. If you set it up right, if you use AI correctly, it kind of can act as an executive function for you as a neurodivergent person. So anyway, a few videos back, I published what I called the self-awareness and radical acceptance framework. Essentially a culmination of everything that I had been learning about consciousness and awareness and mindfulness over the past couple of years. And I put it all into a package that makes sense for me. And I thought I shared that in a video. But what I did for this video, what you're gonna see next, if I quit talking and blabbing, I plugged that into Google's NotebookLM. So if you're not familiar with that, it's an AI program. Essentially, it creates a podcast between 2 AI hosts, and they talk about whatever source material you provide it. So I gave NotebookLM my self-awareness and radical acceptance framework, and they talk about it. So I don't know if I'm going to make any more YouTube videos in the same format as I have been. It's a demand on me, and I don't want to do it anymore. I want to share what I've learned about mindfulness and consciousness and awareness and all that, because I think it's important. I think especially at this stage in life as a species, we need to be more aware as human beings. We need to connect with each other at the species level, if that makes sense. Move beyond our tribalism and our nationalism and just connect. Be here with ourselves and connect with others. So anyway, tangents, rant aside, I hope you enjoy this new format. If you do, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If not, whatever. It's up to you. So without further ado, yeah, check it out. Hope it makes sense. Hope it's helpful to you. All right, cheers. Peace.
I want to start today with a question that feels a little unfair, maybe even a little intrusive.
Okay.
If I asked you to close your eyes and picture the one thing you want most in the world right now, I mean, the thing that you think would actually fix your life, what pops into your head?
Wow. Yeah, that is a loaded question. For most of us, it's probably a number,
A number in a bank account?
or maybe a different boss, a bigger house,
Yeah,
or just silence.
exactly. It's almost always external stuff.
Yeah.
We are, we're wired to believe that peace is something we have to go out and get.
Mm.
We think we have to rearrange the furniture of our lives, fix the job, fix the relationship, fix the economy before we're allowed to take a deep breath.
But we have a stack of research in front of us today that kind of calls that bluff.
It does more than call the bluff.
It dismantles the whole game. The core promise here is pretty radical. I mean, the source material argues that every single person can find peace right now, today, without changing a single external circumstance.
Which, frankly, sounds like a magic trick.
Or a scam.
It does.
It really does. But the catch is, you have to install a specific internal framework to do it. It's not about the world changing, it's about the lens changing.
So today we are doing a deep dive into the self-awareness and radical acceptance framework. And I want to be clear right off the bat, this isn't a think happy thoughts kind of discussion.
Not at all. That's a really, really important distinction to make.
We aren't talking about manifestation or, that toxic positivity where you just smile while the house burns down.
Right.
This is a mechanical breakdown of how the human mind processes reality. We're looking at a three-part system: awareness, non-judgment, and acceptance.
And the mission for this deep dive is to take those three words, which, let's be honest, have been plastered on so many Instagram posts and coffee mugs that they've almost lost their meaning,
Really
and give them their teeth back. We want to show you how these are actually gears in a machine designed to stop you from fighting a war against reality.
When I first read the source text, I had that exact reaction. I saw awareness and acceptance and thought, okay, sure, I got it.
I know what those words mean.
I know what those words mean. But the more I read, the more I realized I've been misunderstanding these concepts for years. The expert definition here is, well, it's stricter than I expected and a lot more practical.
It's much more precise. The source text boils it all down to a really elegant core belief that anchors the whole discussion. Awareness reveals reality, non-judgment clears distortion, and acceptance engages truth.
That's the roadmap. So let's look at the foundation of this pyramid. Awareness.
Right, let's start there.
Most people think awareness just means, being awake or knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
But the source defines it as something much more specific. It calls awareness the innate ability to notice the totality of ongoing experience.
And that word totality is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
It is. Can you break that down?
Well, because usually we aren't aware of the totality. We're tunnel visioned. We're aware of the email that just annoyed us, or the traffic jam, or the hunger pang.
The loud stuff.
We focus on the loud stuff. But the source describes awareness as a broad knowing field. It's the container. It's the capacity to know that you are sitting here and that you're listening to us and that your back is slightly sore and that you're worrying about dinner all at the same time.
So it's not about emptying the mind. Because I think that's where people get tripped up. They think, I can't be aware because I can't stop thinking.
No, exactly. That's a huge misconception. The text is very clear. Awareness is deliberately, engagedly present. It's not a void. It's a spotlight. Actually, the source uses a better analogy.
Oh, yeah.
It says, attention is the steering wheel of your life.
I circle that phrase. Attention is the steering wheel.
That really stuck with me. Because if awareness is the landscape, everything that is happening, inside and out, then attention is the mechanism you use to navigate it. It's a selective process. You are steering your consciousness. You choose what to look at.
But why do we need to steer it? If I'm angry, I know I'm angry. I don't need a framework to tell me that. It feels pretty automatic.
Well, do you know you're angry? Or are you just being angry?
That's a subtle distinction. But I think I know what you mean. Usually I'm just in it.
And that's the critical difference. The text argues that the goal of awareness isn't just to know stuff. It's to create space.
Right.
When you are truly aware, you prevent your identity from being fused with your passing thoughts.
Fusion. That's the psychological term, right?
Right. When you are fused, there is no distance. You feel anger and you say, I am angry. You become the anger. The anger is driving the car.
You aren't steering anymore.
The emotion is steering.
Okay, so awareness is the act of unbuckling the seatbelt and stepping back a little.
Exactly. Awareness allows you to say, I am experiencing a thought of anger. It sounds like semantics, but think about the difference in power there. The source says a thought is just a passing event.
It's weather.
It's weather. You are the sky. Awareness is realizing that you are the sky, not the storm.
That's a huge shift. Because if I'm the storm, I have to rage. I have to destroy things. If I'm the sky, I can just watch it rain.
Precisely. And that distance, that's where choice lives. If you're fused, you react automatically. You shout, you send the nasty text, you spiral. If you're aware of the anger as an event, you suddenly have a split second to decide what to do with it. You're back in the driver's seat.
But, and here is the friction point for me, and I think for a lot of listeners, awareness alone seems dangerous, or at least incomplete.
Oh, so.
Because I can be very aware that I'm spiraling. I could be sitting there thinking, wow, I am really anxious right now. And it doesn't make the anxiety go away. In fact, sometimes staring at it makes it worse.
That is a classic trap. You've turned the lights on, which is step one. You see the reality. But now you have to deal with how you interpret what you see.
Right.
And that brings us to the second pillar, which I think is the hardest part of this entire framework, non-judgment.
Non-judgment. It sounds nice. It sounds like something you'd hear in a yoga class while gentle music plays.
It does.
But the source notes that humans are basically judgment machines. It's our default setting. This is good, this is bad, I like this, I hate this.
It's evolutionary. We categorize to survive. Safe or dangerous, friend or foe, yummy or poisonous.
Sure.
But the expert definition here distinguishes between practical evaluation and judgment.
Go on. Because I feel like if I stop judging, I stop caring.
Non-judgment doesn't mean you stop having preferences. It doesn't mean you don't have morals. If you see someone kick a puppy, you don't stand there and say, well, that is just an event occurring in the universe.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like sociopathy, not inner peace.
Right. Non-judgment in this context means you don't assign value to the observation as it relates to your self-worth or your resistance to the moment. It's an it just is attitude.
And it just is attitude about the facts of the present moment.
Exactly. Let's make this concrete because it just is can feel a little detached.
Yeah, please.
The source differentiates between the event and the story we tell about the event. Non-judgment clears the distortion. It means observing, I am feeling a tightness in my chest, without immediately adding the label, this is bad, I shouldn't feel this, I'm weak for feeling this.
Ah, so the judgment is usually directed at ourselves or at the fact that the pain exists?
Both. It's the resistance to the feeling. And this leads to what I think is the most powerful concept in this entire stack of research. It's the concept of the second arrow.
I love this analogy. It's derived from Buddhist philosophy, right? But the source frames it in a really modern way.
It does, and it adapts it perfectly for modern psychology. The teaching says that in life, we are inevitably struck by the first arrow.
Okay.
The first arrow is pain. It's physical pain, emotional loss, a rude comment from a coworker, the car not starting when you're late.
The first arrow is just life happening.
Right. It's inevitable. You cannot dodge the first arrow. Being human means getting hit by it. You will get sick. You will be sad. You will be annoyed.
Okay, I'm with you.
But then, immediately after, we usually shoot ourselves with a second arrow.
And this is the one we do to ourselves.
Exactly. This is our reaction to the pain. It's the why me, the it's not fair, the I can't believe this is happening, the I'm such an idiot for letting this happen. The source calls this suffering.
So the first arrow is pain. The second arrow is suffering.
And the bold claim here is, the first arrow is mandatory, the second arrow is optional.
That is confronting.
It is. It puts the responsibility back on us.
Because I think I spend about 10% of my energy dealing with the first arrow and 90% of my energy agonizing over the second one.
Most of us do. Let's say you stub your toe. That's the first arrow. It throgs. It hurts. That is a physical reality. But then you scream, you curse the table, you curse the universe for putting the table there. You tell yourself you're a clumsy idiot who ruins everything. That is the second arrow.
And the second arrow usually lasts way longer than the toe pain.
Exactly. The toe stops hurting in 2 minutes. The bad mood from calling yourself an idiot lasts all morning.
Right. And here is why non-judgment matters. The text says judgment acts as glue. When you judge the pain as wrong, or when you judge yourself for feeling it, you fuse your identity to that experience. You get stuck to it.
So non-judgment is the solvent. It dissolves the glue.
Yes. It lets the experience come, be felt, and then go. It stops the cycle.
So you feel the toe pain, you acknowledge pain is present, and you don't turn it into a drama about your coordination.
Right. You don't add the story. You respect the first arrow, but you leave the bowl on the ground for the second one.
Okay. So we have awareness, seeing the car is headed for the ditch. We have non-judgment, not screaming, I'm a terrible driver while it's happening.
Right.
But that still leaves us in a car headed for a ditch. We need to actually do something.
Which leads us to the final piece, and this is the one that people misunderstand the most. Acceptance.
I struggle with this word, acceptance. I think a lot of listeners probably do too, because it sounds weak. It sounds like giving up. The source anticipates this pushback. It explicitly asks, does acceptance mean being a doormat?
Right. If I'm in a toxic job and I accept it, doesn't that mean to just stay there and be miserable?
Yeah.
If I accept that my health is bad, do I stop going to the doctor?
No, and the text is adamant about this distinction. Acceptance is not resignation. This is crucial.
Right.
Resignation is a feeling of helplessness. Resignation says, this is awful, but I can't do anything about it, so I guess I'll suffer.
That feels heavy. That's defeat.
Acceptance is active. Acceptance says, this is the situation, this is the reality, I am in a toxic job, that is true. Now, what is my skillful move?
I see. So acceptance is a prerequisite for action, not a replacement for it.
Ideally, yes. You cannot navigate a map if you refuse to admit where you are standing right now. If you are in New York, but you insist you are in Chicago, you're never going to get where you want to go.
That's a great way to put it. Denial is pretending you're in Chicago. Acceptance is saying, okay, I'm in New York, I don't like New York, but I am here, so how do I leave?
Precisely. The source describes acceptance as an intentional non-action regarding the struggle against reality. It's the refusal to fight what is already true. There's a quote here I highlighted.
What's that?
Fighting reality is like arguing with the wind.
It's a perfect visual. Imagine standing outside in a hurricane and screaming at the wind to stop.
It's exhausting, it's ineffective, and most importantly, it consumes all the energy you could be using to build a shelter or put on a coat.
Right.
Acceptance is the truce. You stop the internal war against the fact that the wind is blowing. Once you accept the wind is blowing, you can deal with the wind.
Acceptance engages truth. That's what we said at the beginning.
Exactly. Until you accept it, you're just yelling. You're incapacitated by your own resistance.
Okay, we've got the theory. Awareness, non-judgment, acceptance. But I want to see this in the wild. Because it's easy to be zen when you're reading a PDF. It's hard when life is punching you in the face.
Sure. The source material gives a really specific high-stress example to illustrate this, the yelling person scenario.
Yeah, this one made my palms sweat just reading it. It's too real.
So let's break it down. The scenario is someone is standing in front of you, yelling obscenities, accusing you of things, threatening you. It's aggressive. It's loud.
Okay, default mode for me. I'm either yelling back or I'm crying or I'm shaking.
That's the automatic response. Stimulus, reaction. But let's apply the framework. Step 1. Awareness. What happens?
Okay, so the source says you notice the facts.
Okay.
Physically and externally. You think, this person is yelling, my stomach just dropped, my face feels hot, I feel fear.
Notice what's missing there.
There's no story. There's no, he's a jerk. There's no, I'm in danger. Just raw data.
Right. You are steering the wheel of attention to the facts, not the narrative. So step 2, non-judgment.
This seems impossible in that moment.
It's incredibly difficult, but the source says you have to refuse to attach the label. You observe my stomach drop without adding, I am weak for being scared. You observe he is yelling without adding, he has no right to talk to me like that. Wait, but he doesn't have a right to talk to me like that. Isn't that a valid judgment? It's a valid social judgment, sure. He is breaking social contracts, but in the internal moment, does thinking he shouldn't be doing this stop him from doing it?
No.
He's already doing it.
Exactly. Thinking he shouldn't be doing this is arguing with the wind. The reality is he is doing it. The judgment just adds your own anger and resistance on top of the threat. It clouds your thinking.
So you don't shoot the second arrow. You're already being yelled at. That's the first arrow. You don't need to beat yourself up or get blinded by rage.
Exactly. And because you haven't wasted your mental bandwidth on judging him or judging yourself, you arrive at step 3, acceptance.
Which brings us to the strategic move.
Right.
The source says the acceptance thought is, this person is abusing me. That is the reality. So I will calmly walk away, find a safe place, and decide what to do next. Look at the difference there. The result is a skillful response. Because they didn't deny the reality, this can't be happening, and they didn't resist it with useless rage. How dare he? They could see clearly, I am being abused, the safety exit is to the left, I am leaving.
Whereas if they refused with their anger, they might have stayed to fight. Or if they refused with their fear, they might have frozen.
Exactly. By not fighting the reality, they gain the power to change their situation. That is the paradox of acceptance. You accept the moment so that you can effectively move to the next one.
You acknowledge the chessboard so you can make a move.
Yeah.
It connects back to that, quote, the source attributes to Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there's a space.
In that space is our power to choose our response.
Yeah.
That is the holy grail of psychology. And Frankl wrote that after surviving concentration camps. If anyone knows about finding freedom in impossible circumstances, it's him.
And this framework awareness, non-judgment acceptance, that is essentially a toolkit for widening that space.
That's it. That's the whole ballgame. If we are unaware, that space doesn't exist. We are just a bundle of reflexes. Someone pushes a button, we react. We are robots.
But the source talks about will as a force for intentionality. This implies it's not something that just happens to you. It takes work.
It takes immense effort. I don't want to sugarcoat this. The text says intention and effort is the catalyst. You have to willfully choose to pause. You have to use your will to grip that steering wheel of attention and wrestle it away from the anger. It's like mental weightlifting.
So if you try this and fail, if you try to be aware and then 5 seconds later you're screaming at traffic, that's normal.
That's completely normal. You're trying to override a biological system that has been running on autopilot your whole life. It takes reps.
So what's the payoff? Why should we do this mental heavy lifting?
Yeah.
Is it just so I can feel calmer in traffic?
Well, personal sanity is a pretty good perk. But the source makes a really beautiful point about the ripple effect. It argues that we cannot change the world directly. We can't force the world to be peaceful. But our inner tranquility influences the broader world.
It's the idea that emotions are contagious.
They are. Think about when you walk into a room and someone is seething with anger. You feel it immediately. Your own cortisol spikes. You get defensive.
Totally. The vibe changes instantly.
Now imagine the opposite. You walk into a crisis, maybe a family argument or a work disaster, and there is one person who is grounded, one person who isn't shooting second arrows, who isn't judging, who has accepted the reality and is looking for a solution.
They become the anchor.
They do. The source talks about creating a legacy of peace. By doing this work, you stop projecting your internal chaos onto other people. You break the cycle of reactivity.
It's like if I'm not at war with myself, I'm less likely to start a war with you.
Precisely. The source explicitly lists foster compassionate connections as a goal. When you are grounded in acceptance, you become a stabilizing force. You stop being a victim of your own mind and you start being a leader in your own life.
I think that victimhood piece is the key takeaway for me. The source says we are conscious beings, inherently distinct from the thoughts and emotions that arise within us.
It's a profound identity shift. If you take nothing else away from this, take that.
I am not my anxiety. I am the consciousness observing the anxiety.
And that observer cannot be hurt. That observer is always at peace. The anxiety is just the weather passing through. The observer is the sky. The sky doesn't worry about the storm. It holds the storm.
So let's recap this because we've covered a lot of ground and these are big concepts. It's a 3-step progression.
Step 1, awareness. It gives you choice. It turns the lights on so you aren't living on autopilot. You notice the totality of experience. You grab the steering wheel.
Step 2, non-judgment.
Which gives you freedom. It stops you from gluing yourself to your experiences. It prevents you from shooting the second arrow of suffering. You let the experience be what it is without the story.
And step 3, acceptance.
Which gives you peace and power. It ends the war with reality. It shouldn't be like this. And frees up your energy to take skillful, effective action. It is like this, so here is what I will do.
And if you miss one?
The system short circuits. Without awareness, you're blind. Without non-judgment, you're suffering. Without acceptance, you're paralyzed by resistance. You really do need all three working in concert.
It's a daily practice. The source calls it conscious living. It's not a badge you earn. It's a way of being.
Attention is the steering wheel of your life. Where your attention goes, your life goes. If you focus on the resistance, you get more struggle. If you focus on the awareness and acceptance, you get peace.
I love that image.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with a thought from the source that really stuck with me. It's a bit of a brain twister, but it helps solidify that shift we talked about. The text says, you are the conscious being, distinct from the thoughts and emotions that arise within you.
It's the ultimate truth of the framework.
So here's the question for you to mull over as you go about your day. If you are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotions, then who are you, really, when you simply sit there and observe?
That is the question.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.